whatever is happening in the sky or outside of us, it's happening within us. The same process. So at the cellular level, at the DNA level, we are going through this transformation, this awakening process, this ascending process. Hi everyone, this is Kevlan. In today's video, I wanted to talk about the energy, at the collective level, the energy we've been receiving for quite some time. I've made a video about that 6 months ago, approximately, so I just wanted to give you an update where we are at and what has been happening at the collective level and what has been happening from an energy perspective. So I'm sure, like everybody else, you've been affected or you've been feeling that the event or the energies have been fairly intense over the last few months. We had in March the eclipse, the moon and solar eclipses, and then we had this big planet alignment. And since March, or I would say end of March and going to April, the energy and the solar energy, the cosmic energy from the sun, from the central sun, and from our own sun in our solar system have been very intense. I'm sure you've seen or you were able to witness the intensity of this energy by looking at the northern lights that has been happening again over the last couple months in so many different places, and actually in some places it has been happening almost every night in northern United States, part of Canada, or part of certain places in Europe. Like northern lights have been happening for almost every day for the last couple months. So things are very intense, and northern lights and also southern lights, because in New Zealand, in Australia, or in the South Pole, obviously lots of lights in the sky that has been happening over the last couple months. So this is just an indication that we've been bombarded by this solar energy, we've been bombarded by cosmic energy, really pouring our realm, pouring the planets, and obviously affecting everybody, whether it's the planet itself, but all the biology and all the flora and the fauna on the planet. So everybody, whether you're conscious of it or not, everybody has been affected somehow by the intensity of this energy. And when I look around, I see a lot of people right now struggling. A lot of people are going through challenges, some depressions or some emotional, challenges, some disease or sickness or pain, lots of symptoms. A lot of people are struggling, and it's just a consequence of this energy that I've been pouring the planet for the last couple months. For more than that, obviously, but for the last couple months, it's been very, very, very intense. I do not see that the intensity will diminish. As a matter of fact, I think we are heading toward the apex of this energy, or this, whatever has been happening at the collective level. I think it's still ahead of us. The intensity will increase over the summer and probably as we head towards the fall. So, but again, if it's a cosmic cycle, so it's not something we can stop. Whatever we can do, we can delay the awakening process, but nothing can stop this cycle, because again, it's a cosmic cycle affecting our entire solar system and obviously our planet and all its inhabitants. And if you go back to what I presented 6 months ago when I was talking about the Schumann resonance and how we are connected, or how our consciousness, or the consciousness of everybody, all the human beings, but also the animals, the plants, everybody is kind of connected to the consciousness of the planet and the Schumann resonance, and how we affect the Schumann resonance, and how the Schumann resonance affect also our energy field. And there is this two-way communication between those two layers of what we are. But what we have to understand is it's a cosmic cycle. So the planet itself is changing, the planet itself is transforming, and this transformation is really from the inside out. All this cosmic energy, all this, those solar flares that have been bombarded, or that have been received by the planets, especially on the pole with this magnetic field, is really absorbed by the planets, and then so that the change can happen from within, from the inside out. So I don't know if you've been following a little bit what's happening, but all this energy from the inside is going now into the outside of the surface of the planet, with many, like, we can see more and more earthquakes happening, more and more volcanoes waking up, more and more fires out of control, more and more rain or floods happening around the planet. And it's all signs of transformation. It's all sign of what we are currently experiencing as a human being, but also the planet is going through the same process. And as a matter of fact, we are just mirroring the planet. The planet is going through this change, and every habitant or inhabitant of the planet is going the same process. So this transformation is really from the inside out. Is really start within, and then it's surfacing, and that's what has been happening for us also as human beings. It's the change is happening at the DNA level. It's happening at the cellular level. All the northern lights, we can see all this cosmic energy that we can witness by looking at the sky, because we're looking at the northern lights. But so many things, so many strange things have been happening in the sky all over the world, things we can't explain. So many people like looking or watching, or some very weird things. And all of this is, well, whatever is happening in the sky or outside of us, it's happening within us. The same process. So at the cellular level, at the DNA level, we are going through this transformation, this awakening process, this ascending process. And as a result of this, as more energy is pouring into the planet, then more energy is received by received by human beings, which is helping us expand more and more by pushing all the shadows, pushing all those parts that needs to be healed to the surface. And that's the reason why a lot of people, and me included, have been going through a coaster of transformation and big expansion phase and big contraction phase. And again, it's just a normal process of all the things and removing, like an onion, or removing all those, peeling the onion, all the layers. And as the intensity of the light, of the information, or the energy is increasing, then is affecting us deeper and deeper. It's just it's transforming us from the inside out deeper and deeper. And as the light is really going deeper, is going to push whatever was buried very deep inside of us to the surface. And now we have to acknowledge it. Now we have to face it. Now we have to release it. So that's what we call the healing process. And that's the reason why a lot of people have been struggling, is because they are going through this healing crisis, this healing phase, and most of the time unconsciously, they just don't know what's going on. And when you feel bad inside of you, because again, you have these shadow parts coming up to the surface because of this energy that is pouring the planet, then we will feel bad. We will feel, it's very unpleasant, because we have to feel that energy, that emotion that was repressed for such a long time in order to release it. So when we are obvious, those shadow parts coming up to the surface, and we don't like it, so we will have a tendency to look over there and then not facing it. But the problem is, as the energies continue to pour into the planet, this is going to push more and more and more and more and stronger all those shadow parts. So it's gonna get worse for people that are not acknowledging it, for people that are not understanding this process of releasing, and until it gets to a point where it's more painful to look on the side than to face the emotion itself. And that's when people now decide to actually face it and release it. So that's currently why a lot of people are struggling. And as a matter of fact, now if we even look at the collective level, this big stage that is happening, whether it's at a political level, whether it's financial level, whether it's, like every aspect of society, science or whatever, the same thing is happening, the same process is happening, because we are just a collection of individual beings going through this process. So at the collective level, it's just a mirror of what the collective consciousness or individual consciousness is experiencing every single day. So it's the same thing when we look around at the world and we see more wars and we see more issues, we see more inflation, more problem with the economy, it's lots of confusion overall, lots of violence overall. This will get worse until we can acknowledge the shadow part of the collective and start changing the story. And again, everything starts within. The transformation that is happening currently is within. It doesn't start from the outside of us. It's always start within, and then the projection of what we have within will be projecting externally. So if we don't like to see what's happening, or if we're looking at the world right now and we have a tendency to think, oh, everything is getting worse because of all this energy pouring and all the shadow that is emerging back to the surface, is because it's meant to be acknowledged. It's meant to be acknowledged. We are supposed to acknowledge the shadow part of society and say, okay, there is war. We don't like war. Then what? Then we have to embody the peace. We have to embody whatever we don't want to see in our life and at the collective level. So that's how it works. Everything starts within, because what is within is the only thing that is true. The rest is just an illusion. It's just a projection. It's just a hologram of what is within. It's just a hologram of the state of being. So that being said, we will see what will happen over the next few months or for the rest of the year at the collective level. And I would say that no matter what happens, understand the process of this energy is only working for us, is only working to help us expand, to help us grow as human beings, as the collective, and as the planet itself. So everything is happening for the better. It's just a transformation process. When we want to renovate the kitchen, what do we do first? We remove and break the old kitchen before we can actually install the new one. So that's exactly what has been happening. All this surfacing, all this old paradigm, all these old wounds, all this old shadow, whether it's individual or the collective level, is resurfacing so that it can be once and for all acknowledged and released, and the new can finally start sprouting from within. Because again, inside, within, the energy has already changed. Now it's just a manifestation that we are currently looking at or seeing with our perception, our own eyes. So that's my take on what has been happening at the collective level, what has been happening with all this energy we've been receiving from the planet. June has been very intense, lots of very powerful electromagnetic storm, lots of solar flares we've received over the last week. Some power outage have happened due to some, again, energy we've been receiving, whether it was in Portugal, in Spain, in France. So this is going to accelerate, this is going to intensify, and we as human beings, we should just bless this energy because it's just helping us transform from the inside out. And the process is going to accelerate. It's going to get faster and faster to release more and more and more and more and more and more. When I look at my life, at first, when I was going through those expansion and contraction, it was usually much longer. One cycle, which is the frequency, one cycle was much longer. But as the frequency is increasing, like this, we are experiencing contraction, expansion much faster. That's why sometimes we feel so good, and then we have to face something else. We release it, and we don't have a break. Then we have to face something else and face something else. But every time we do so, we just rise more and more and more and more. So that's part of the transformation journey. That's part of the work. And even though it's very challenging at times, very difficult and lonely at times, I try to embrace this energy, embrace this cosmic cycle, because we came here we incarnated here and now because to experience this and to use this cycle to transcend this realm, transcend this 3D reality, and then continue and move on to our next journey. So that's pretty much what I wanted to discuss today. I will probably have another update for the energy closer to the end of the year, see what will happen between now and the end of the year. But in the meantime, I wish you the best. Embrace this energy. Acknowledge whatever it's coming out to the surface. It's valid. It's okay. I know it can be painful, but all it needs is just a message for you to acknowledge this information so that you can release it. You can feel it and release it. If you need some help with that, you can reach out to me by on YouTube, or I have my link to the website in the description below. Also, if you want to know more about the science, and I talk about the energy, I talk about the cosmic cycle in my book, The Science of Breaking Free. I left the link down below in the description. And for now, I'll see you in the next video.